What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Well, I'm always serving you ladies and you guys wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. I want to give a big ups to all of my subscribers. You know, I see y'all as my family. I'm so grateful and appreciative of y'all dedication, y'all loyalty, for still rocking with me throughout this whole journey. I am so grateful for each and every one of y'all, even if I don't always respond to your comments, even if I don't always, email you back, just know that I'm definitely grateful and I do be paying attention. It's just that I have a very demanding career, so it's really, really hard for me to keep up with people like I used to. Things are just so different now. But nevertheless, I definitely felt it was imperative for me to get into this late chat discussion tonight. This is going to be a late night snack, a late recipe, because as all of you know, I do corrections. So I'm used to sleeping all day and being up all night. Half of y'all are probably in y'all bed right now. Those of you who are up and wide as a crackhead, probably is because you're used to working late night shifts with me as well. So only my people who are used to working late at night can understand. We do not sleep at all at night. Okay, so I'm just highly, highly wired. But nevertheless, I thought it was imperative that I got into this discussion about why Black YouTube sectors are dividing when egos and views become big. So I've been sitting back and peeping from the bushes, and I'm just an observer. I really don't partake in too much of this YouTube shenanigans. I'm not a part of no movement. I don't do a lot of live streams. You're not going to see me over here, over there. I'm one of those low key YouTubers. You may see me once in a blue moon pop up and do like a live stream with someone, but I'm not one of those YouTubers that's gung ho. Got to be on every platform. Got to be in everybody's panel. Got to be in everybody's chat room. I'm not always in the midst of clout chasing. I'm not always bringing the most popular people that everybody likes or is well known, on my live stream, my yard stream, anything like that. I've just I've just accepted the fact that the reason why I don't strive to become so big or so large, and I don't be trying to collaborate and link up with the most popular and most biggest YouTubers, is because sometimes the bigger you become as a YouTube content creator, um, the bigger the target becomes on your back. And sometimes I've learned it is nothing wrong with being a background singer. It's nothing wrong with sitting to the back and not always being noticed. And the reason for that is because it's less drama. It's less animosity when you're not that well known. Once you become well known, your enemies increase just as much as your fans. Sometimes your enemies increase, they triple even more than your subscribers, even more than people who are rocking for you or with you. So I'm one of those content creators. I've learned to be content where I am. I feel like if God wants me to do this for a long time, He'll fix it to where my brand will continue to get better and I will get in higher places without always having to link up with people that are popular, without always having to link up with people who got the most subscribers and people who are basically very popular. Because I've gotten to the point I'd rather rock with who's solid than who's popular, because there's just way too many egos with these people who are popular on in the YouTube, in the Black YouTube sector at that. Some of these people, it seems like people who have a smaller channel, they're more easier to get along with. They're more easier to, collaborate with, because they don't have this such an egotistical issue to where I got X amount of subscribers, I get X amount of views. So I'm not about to rock with somebody who's only getting 20, 30 views, who only, got less than 5,000 subscribers. I'm not going to waste my time going over and collaborating or doing live streams with people who are not that popular, who don't have that many subscribers. So you have a lot of people that they intentionally only collaborate and do content with other content creators who are very popular, who are doing really well in the YouTube mainstream, because that is their way of gaining notoriety by linking up with people who are already well established. And it's pretty much it's a cheap shot if you ask me, because to me, that doesn't take courage. Anybody can link up with somebody who's popular and who has a large fan base, a large subscriber base on YouTube, but it takes a lot of courage and a lot of confidence to start from scratch and begin your channel, um just from being a nobody. You know what I mean? It takes you years when you're starting off from scratch and you don't have popular people on your platform. You don't have popular content creators that you're constantly live streaming with. So basically every time you upload a video, you're not going to get a lot of subscribers. You're not going to get a lot of people that just run into in a hurry and, run into your channel and say, oh my goodness, let me see who she got on here today. Let me see who we got on here today. People are not going to be running behind you and checking for you like that when you're starting off from scratch. And a lot of these clout chasers on YouTube, they know that. And a lot of these clout chasers, what a lot of them have done, most of them started off as regular subscribers, okay? They was just regular subscribers hanging out in the chat room. And what tends to happen as a content creator, where you're getting all this love, you're getting all this admiration, and you're getting all these props, you have your people in the audience. You have certain people in the audience who are drawn to the attention that you get, that are drawn to the recognition you get. And in the back of their mind, it's like, oh wow, I really want that. I would desire to get that kind of attention. I would desire to get that type of recognition. So you have some of these subscribers that start off as just, regular people hanging out in the chat room giving their opinions. So what tends to happen is some of these subscribers, what they tend to do is they basically try to wean their way into getting close to the popular content creator. They start off by doing it in small ways, because I don't know if a lot of you noticed, like, was a point in time before I became, as you know, before I became really well and doing my content. I noticed when I was just a subscriber, yeah, basically that's what I was trying to say. Before I became an official content creator, I was just a subscriber starting off like all of y'all. And I noticed that some of these ladies and some of these women, they were subscribers once upon a time like me. Now all of a suddenly, they just blew up overnight, and they're hanging out with the most popular content creators. They're on their live streams, they're doing live content with them, and basically what a lot of these subscribers do, they wean themselves in to getting close to the popular guy or the popular female content creator. And next thing you notice, how they do it is they start off by basically, they in the background co-signing on a lot of the narratives that the content creator, the popular content creator, is doing. They become like cheerleaders. They become like fans. Like, yeah, man, you right. Yeah, man, I'm feeling you. I'm feeling your content. I'm feeling what you're saying. I feel like everything you're saying is right. You're speaking facts. They know how to basically stroke a content creator's ego. And the reason they do that is because they're trying to wean themselves in. And I find it ironic that a lot of these content creators, for them to be so knowledgeable and for them to claim they could peep through BS when somebody is really loyal or somebody's just trying to get close to them to clout chase, they will give these specific individuals uh room on their platforms. Basically, because all these people did was amen everything they said. You know, and it's so easy as a content creator to get suckered into people thinking they mean you well, because the majority of them just agree with what the hell you say. And as content creators, the sad part is some of these content creators in the Black YouTube sector, they think people are hating on them, or they think people are out for them because you don't agree with all of their narratives, or you're not co-signing on the narrative. So when you come into the chat room with a difference in opinion, or you come on a panel, the platform, with a difference in opinion, and because you don't agree with the narratives and you're not co-signing with the narratives, they don't feel like you have any loyalty to their brand, or you don't have any loyalty to the platform that they represent. But because they got a dude over here, or they got a female on the panel that's amen and them, and yeah, 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 man, you right. Yeah, you speaking facts. Yeah, you telling the truth. Listen, anybody can sit up there and act like they agree with your narratives, but that don't mean they got good intentions. And just because somebody disagrees with your narratives, that don't mean they don't have good intentions. As a matter of fact, I honestly feel like people who disagree with me sometimes got more better intentions than those who are always agreeing with me. Because anytime somebody's always agreeing with you, that should be a red flag that this person does not have the best of intentions. Because um, there's no way in the world somebody should always agree with everything you say the majority of the time. And I just find it ironic that you have a lot of these content creators, they are falling for, you know, people that are always co-signing on their narratives and think that, okay, I could bring this dude on my platform, or I can make him part of my brand. I can add him to the movement. And a lot of these guys and females, they're doing that. They're sucking up to the popular content creators. They're sucking up to them, agreeing with all their narratives, because that is their way of getting in. That is their way of, of cracking that door so they can slowly creep in. And what tends to happen is a lot of these content creators who claim to be so knowledgeable and they know so much, they can peep game from a mile away. They will let these co-signers, these cheerleaders, join their platform and a movement. And in the meantime, they're now getting some of the spotlight now because the content creator has entrusted them as far as sharing their platform and sharing their panel with them. Now they're earning that recognition because now they're on the panel with the popular YouTube content creator. And that's all it takes these days. Hey, if you want to be a part of somebody's movement, all you got to do is be a big time donator and definitely be a big time co-signer. As long as you're doing both of those things, believe me, you will get in. You will get. I don't care how big the movement is. I don't care how much they try to act like they only accept certain people and they're not walking with certain people. Let me tell you, a dollar and recognition is everything. Long as you're doing that, you're giving them the dollars and you're giving them the recognitions. Eventually, they're going to give you a space in their movement and on their panel. So I'm sipping my wine, y'all. So if I pause in between, y'all will know that's why. But nevertheless, this is what I wanted to kind of go into. Now, I'm a big fan of old school classics. Okay, I'm slowly approaching my 40s. God bless me to actually see it. So I'm an old school junkie, and I like a lot of the old classic movies. Old school like Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, just all of the old classics, And one of the classics that still stands out to me to this day, and a lot of people might find this funny, but I am still a fan of the movie New Jack City. And even though now looking at it, a lot of it seems pretty corny and seems a little far fetched, because we're in a different world and we're in a different era. So things back then doesn't necessarily go into alignment with the way we perceive things today because things are just different, and that's to be expected. But what I like about New Jack City, and I'm gonna mix it together. I'm gonna blend the ingredients together, so it's gonna tie into my content. That the point that I'm going with this, it'll all make sense as we put the pieces of the puzzle together. But what I like about this movie more than anything, it just wasn't so fact. It just wasn't so much the actors or the plot or this and that. But what I liked about the movie, because I'm the kind of person I always look at things deeper than what it is, and I like the lesson that the movie, the moral that the movie pretty much indicated, and basically um we all know the Cash Money Brothers in the movie. They started off as simple, you know, dope boys, simple little dope boys in the hood. They wasn't big, they wasn't grand, they didn't have no big operation, anything like that. They were all homeboys, they were friends. That was simple dope boys, like I said, in the hood, shooting hoops together, you know, just basically, doing their thing together as friends and as a team, on the low level. And over time, as they realized they needed to make more money, they realized, we could be bigger than what we are. We settling, doing this little dope boy game in the streets. We can actually be something bigger and greater than what we are. So what tended to happen in the movie, what happened was, of course, G Money discovered this new drug that basically crack cocaine was really selling in the streets. It was a big thing during that time and era, during the early 80s and the beginning in the early 90s. That was the biggest thing happening back then, to be able to be a drug dealer and sell crack cocaine and sell drugs, because that's how a lot of people profited and made their money. So once G Money, was doing his little thing on the side to see how much of a profit they could actually make off of this product, he decided to put his homeboy, Nino Brown on. And of course, Nino Brown, of course, was in his feelings at first, like, how you out here, this we supposed to be part of the team. You out here experimenting and you making a little profit off these drugs, off this crack, and you ain't putting us on, you ain't telling us anything. You're not supposed to be making no money outside of the family. So of course G Money was like, no, no, it ain't been like that. I'm not trying to disrespect the family, but I needed to see how this product would benefit us before I put y'all on. And I've been experimenting with this product, and I've been making some good money. I'm getting all kind of women now, things that I never had before. Now I'm realizing this here, we on to something. This is something we may need to start doing. So of course Nino Brown at first is skeptical, like, man, come on, what this little pieces of soap, this crack, how is this gonna benefit us? Okay, so anyway, Nino Brown decides to trust his boy G Money and say, okay, you know what, we're gonna work with this and see what happens. So sure enough, they all get together, and y'all know the movie. They decide, okay, we're going to move forward with this, and that's when they came up with the organization CMB, Cash Money Brothers, to the point that they created the movement in a different way that was different from any other drug boy. They pulled off a whole operation by taking over a huge apartment complex. They took over the complex to Carter. Okay, no drug boy in history has been able to pull that off. So they were able to basically create a movement that nobody else had even thought about, or nobody else had the balls to try to pull off, put it that way. So anyway, they created CMB, Cash Money Brothers. They took over the apartment complex. They basically made a name for themselves. At this point, everybody was making some bread. G Money, Nino Brown, things were on the up and up. Things was going good until they messed up. One of them, at this point, basically Nino and G Money started clashing with each other. Basically, egos started happening. Nino started getting too big. Once CMB started taking off, making some bread, started doing well, now he was able to invest it and put the money into the club. Now all of these things are going good. Now Nino Brown is starting to become arrogant. Now he's treating his homeboy G Money, as a servant, as an employee instead of his homeboy, leaving G Money to handle everything, while he lay up in the cut and he screwing G Money, side chick or whatever the case may be. Nino Brown basically just started becoming more foul. You know what I mean? He really got out of pocket. He started doing things way outside of the code once they started making money and they started profiting. So at that point, G Money felt like his loyalty wasn't being appreciated by Nino Brown. So what ended up happening was G Money started linking up with an undercover officer, and that's when things had really went left. When he linked up with somebody who ended up infiltrating their movement. And the reason that happened was because he was not getting treated right by his homeboy that's supposed to be loyal to him. Scotty. Yep, that was his name, Scotty. Scotty ended up having an advantage of infiltrating into the Cash Money Brother movement. Because again, once Nino Brown got big, he got cocky, he started treating his crew like they was underneath them. He wanted them to go out there and do all the hard work. He wanted everybody to put their physical work into it, while he kicked back and he get, sucked on, all night, all day, or whatever, by, this chicken head that was supposed to be G Money's girlfriend or whatever. So just basically, Nino Brown got beside himself. And that's usually what happens, in the YouTube movement. A lot of these dudes and a lot of these females will start off solid, and act like, okay, this is a movement we all going to do together. We're all going to be solid on this movement together. We're not going to let no one man get bigger than the other. We're all going to be a team player, and everybody going to eat. Everybody going to benefit. That's how it always starts off. Everybody always starts off acting like they down by law. They're going to do right by each other. Okay, we're not going to let nobody infiltrate. And as always, it's always that one goddamn Nino Brown. And we have a lot of Nino Browns in the black YouTube sector. And I will not say any of them names. You already know who they are. A lot of these guys, they get big and they forget about who was there or who put them on when they was a nobody, when it was just a regular subscriber hanging out in the chat room. So basically, when the Nino Brown starts getting, ahead of himself, starts getting a big head, and no one can reason with him because he's too egotistical, he's too cocky, he's too mean, he's too nasty, he's too stubborn. You got to understand where he's coming from. He's not trying to understand where you coming from. And females, you got female Nino Browns in the YouTube movement also. I've seen a lot of female movements that started off hard and solid and strong. Now them females can't stand each other. They hate each other. They both going back and forth, blogging about each other, doing uploads about each other, airing each other dirty laundry. That's why I don't do movements, because I've seen too many people fall out and get back together. It's just too much, you know, uh, too much messiness, going on in the black YouTube sector. So anyway, so as I stated, as Nino Brown, we have these Nino Browns that get big. And once you start mistreating, well, because once you become a chief, you start mistreating the Indians all kind of way, forgetting that the Indians is the reason how you became a chief in the first place. What starts happening is your enemies will start to branch off, and they will start collaborating or linking up with other people that may not be good for the movement. And it's basically because you, as their leader, you're mistreating, your team. And that's what's been happening a lot in the black YouTube sector. Some of these guys or these ladies, once they get too big for the movement, they mistreat everybody underneath them who started off in the movement. It seemed like everybody was more humble before the views increased. Before the movement, became popular, everybody was on the same key. But once the views started, increasing, once the subscriber base started increasing, once the donations started increasing, now the egos start increasing, the attitudes are increasing. So what tends to happen is people branch off from you, like, you know what, this ain't the same dude I started off with. This ain't the same female I started off with. This person used to be humble. They used to be cool. But now that his channel or her channel is growing, they get beside themselves. It's time for me to start branching off and going other places. So that's what G Money did. Once his homeboy started mistreating him, Nino started mistreating him and disrespecting him, feeling like, okay, we're doing good now. We making money now. I don't have to be that same humble dude I was in our friendship. I got ass now because I'm making money. I'm doing good. I really don't have a purpose for you at this point, because I'm in a good place. So that's what G Money did. That's how Scotty, the undercover agent, was able to infiltrate inside the Cash Money Brothers. So what happened was Scotty got close to the weaker vessel. And what a lot of these leaders and a lot of these YouTube content creators are not understanding is you have to be mindful of who is the weaker vessel on your team, because I don't care how solid people try to act like they are in the beginning, like, I'm gonna be loyal, I'm gonna be down for this movement, I'm gonna be down for the cause, I'm not gonna let nobody infiltrate. Sometimes depending on what happens, people cannot deal with confrontation. And you have people, instead of them coming to you like a man or coming to you like a woman and addressing it, they will totally walk off, leave the movement, and start doing their own movement, or they'll go start linking with other people who was never for the movement. And I've seen that happen a lot on YouTube. I'm like, how all of you guys was solid? It was 5, 6 of y'all doing this movement together. And because y'all had a falling out, now y'all are collaborating with the enemies that was never fond of the movement that you joined. A lot of that is going on. And I find it ironic that a lot of these men would claim how messy women are, but I'm starting to see that these men are doing a lot of messy things that women would do. You know, they're leaving the movement that they were supposed to be loyal to. They're linking up with the enemies that that was against that movement. How you leave your movement and then you link up with somebody else who was always an enemy of that movement. A lot of that is happening. Also, or they branch off and they start their own movement, and the movement that they do is very similar to the movement that they have left. You know, it's kind of like if I'm friends with a homegirl of mine, and I know that what I do for a living, let's say for a living, what I do is I sell dinners. That's what I do. That's how I make my money. I put her on and taught her how to, cook certain things, taught her how to sell dinners, showed her what places she could make a profit off of selling her dinners. And as soon as me and her fall out or have a disagreement about something, now this chick done started her own business and selling dinners. And now she's doing everything that I done taught her, and she's doing it by herself when I was the one who initiated and taught her everything that she needed to know. And because we have a disagreement, instead of her coming to me like a woman and said, I felt like you disrespected me or whatever, she all of a sudden at the drop of a dime, because we had one disagreement, she's starting her own thing. She started her own business. And that just goes to show you who really had your interest, who really had your best interest at heart from the beginning. Because I'm like this, even if you and the person fell out, if they really had any good intentions, they'll at least make the attempt to talk to you and see if they can reason with you. Now, if you're going to be stubborn or you being an ass, okay, then now it's time for me to branch off and do my own thing. But some of these people, they start off in these movements, and as soon as there's a disagreement or something wrong takes place, they already jumping ship, and they either doing their own movement, they starting their own channel, starting their own platform, or they caping with the enemies now. Now they over there hanging out with the enemies that was trying to attack that movement. I see a lot of that going on in the YouTube sector. It amazes me how many of these guys, because I'm noticing it more with the guys. With women, I expect women to be messy because that's in our nature to just be messy and to be drama. But I don't expect that when it comes to these grown men who have these movements that are supposed to be for other black men, that are supposed to encourage black men, that are supposed to teach black men something. It stands out like a sore thumb when you see how these men start off strong and solid together, and with a strong movement, and one of them, they have some disagreement or falling out, and you see them hanging out with a totally different movement that couldn't stand the movement they just abandoned. I'm like, dude, if that's not a feminine ass mood, I don't know what is. I just think that's very feminine for a man to not sit up there and address another man about, how they felt some type of way about something. No, you jump ship and you are already starting your own brand, you doing your own thing, or you are already rocking with the enemy. And what tends to happen is it keeps going. It keeps going. You can have A and B. You can have A, B, and C. A, B, C, and D who have a movement together. Okay? Then what happens is A and B will fall out, and B will start a movement with somebody else. So now it's A, C, and D. They got a movement together. But the problem is B is over here collaborating with the enemy in alphabet F, for example. B is now collaborating with F when B knew all along A, B, C, and D never had any dealings with F. F was an enemy of the camp, but he's over there caping for the enemy. That happens a lot. So now the enemy knows everything about that movement because once B has left A, C, and D, he's going to tell F everything about that movement. Yeah, I couldn't deal with these dudes because they was doing this, A was doing that, C was doing this, D was doing that. So now the enemy has leverage now because one of the members of the movement left on a nasty note and linked up with the enemy and told the enemy everything. So now the enemy is going to know what's going on in that movement. And because Mr. B is in his feelings, of course he's going to tell F everything that A, C, and D been doing. And then sooner or later, A, C, and D may have a falling out with C or A, and eventually he's going to branch off and do his own thing sooner than later, and just continue to keep going. And that's why we have so many different YouTube sector groups. A lot of these people who done branched off and started their own thing, all of them came from the same movement. Okay. And then when Mr. B finds out that the enemy only took him in because they wanted to infiltrate or to gain information, now he realizes, oh, he can't even rock with them either. So now he got to go somewhere else to start his movement, or he got to start his own movement. And the worst thing you could ever do is leave a movement and go start joining the enemy that's always been against the movement that you was once a part of. You better off just starting your own thing versus linking up with the enemy. Because that's just straight up disloyalty. That's being straight disloyal. That's on a whole nother level of betrayal to the second power. You know what I mean? When you caping with the enemy who used to talk about you and the movement that you used to be a part of. And um that's why, I felt it was kind of imperative for me to discuss this. So if you remember the movie with New Jack City, once Nino Brown ego got big, everything fell. Everything started crumbling. Um, G Money got to a point in where he just lost himself into trying to please Nino and trying to be dedicated to Nino. And no matter how dedicated he was to Nino Brown was steady putting his foot in his ass. I mean, he was messing with his female, and even though she was a hoe, but that was still G Money's hoe. I mean, he could have dealt with any other female. Matter of fact, Nino Brown already had a woman. He disrespected his woman and disrespected G Money by linking up with his woman. So Nino Brown really got ahead of himself. And we have a lot of Nino Browns in this black YouTube sector. They are really getting ahead of themselves. They want to be bigger than everybody. And they're not understanding is the YouTube, there's enough bread out here for everybody. Um there's enough clout for everybody. You don't have to be the HNIC. Everybody don't always have to follow you. Everybody don't always have to like you. So you don't need to get upset because with the next man because he's getting more subscribers than you, or he's taking some of your subscribers. Listen, it's a time for everything. We all have a time to be on top, and we all have a time when we hit rock bottom. At some point, you're going to experience one or the other, or you're going to experience both. You can't have this egotistical attitude where I'm the man and I have the biggest channel, I have the biggest platform. So everybody's supposed to be checking for me, and people who ain't checking for me, that's because they ignorant or they phony or they don't have no knowledge. Just because everybody is not checking for you or going along with your narratives, it doesn't make them less knowledgeable. Everybody has their own level of wisdom. Everybody has their own level of knowledge, and you have to respect that. Whether you are popular in the black YouTube sector or not. But as you can recall in the movie, everything went left. When everybody started going their own direction, when G Money branched off and infiltrated with, the undercover agent who was trying to take CMB down, he gave Scotty that leverage, because again, he became vulnerable because of how he was being mistreated by his friend, by the dude that was supposed to be loyal to him. So G Money felt like I need to go somewhere where I'm going to be accepted, where I'm going to be treated like I'm somebody. And what Scotty did, Scotty made G Money feel comfortable with him to where G Money felt like I could cut deals with him on the side. He ain't going to burn me. And that's what Scotty did. Scotty turned around and used all of that against G Money just so he could get close to Nino Brown. And that's what caused Nino Brown to have to take G Money out, because he's like, man, we're supposed to be boys, but you up here, you affiliating with the enemy. But what I noticed though, Nino Brown wouldn't take no accountability and say nothing he did wrong. Now he up there, he killed G Money because he felt like G Money had screwed up the whole CMB. G Money had got on drugs. He was messing with some of the product. He allowed the undercover agent to infiltrate. He put all this pressure on G Money. And like G Money was saying, you did not start this by yourself. We was there with you. We was like regular dope boys in the street with you. You did not do this alone. Look at how much we all lost. You act like you the only one that lost something. This was when the Carter got infiltrated, and that was when the police surrounded the building and shut the operation down. Nino Brown got upset with G Money like it was just G Money's fault by himself. And that's the problem with these black YouTube movements. When things go left, they just want to blame certain people. They don't want to take no accountability. So you don't think the way you treated people on your platform, the way you treated people on your panel, you don't think that played a part in anything as to why people end up leaving you and infiltrating and collaborating with other people that was not good for the movement? But and that's the thing. He left everything on G Money, and he said, "I basically, remember the part when it was on the roof, and that was when Nino Brown told G Money, I basically trusted you. I basically you let a whole $1 million, organization get infiltrated. He ain't take no accountability. Oh, like you ain't stuck with the man girlfriend. And then you saw how he tried to digress that. Oh, you worried about some hoe over this $1 million, this and that we got going. Well, hell, you didn't worry about it because like G Money said, you ain't put your hands in nothing. You wasn't handling your business. You was getting head doing and living it up, dogging everybody. You dogged your main woman that was with you, who brought her cousin in the movement, which was a banker that helped CMB progress. He dogged everybody around him. You have a lot of these Nino Browns in the black YouTube sector that started off leading a strong movement, but their egos got beside themselves where people ended up leaving them. All of these guys who started off collaborating together, doing live streams together. It was like almost like 8, 9. Remember, it used to be like 8, 9 of them on the panel. You almost couldn't, you know, hear what one person was saying because it was like 8, 9 people. That was when we had that Google Hangout before they got rid of the Google Hangout, and now we had to do yard stream and stuff. That's how it was. All of these guys used to have fun. Everybody used to roast each other, roast together. Everybody was giving their own input, sharing their own knowledge and wisdom. But you had Nino Brown. These Nino Browns, once their movement got big, they started treating their homeboys all kind of way. They started treating the guys on their panel all kind of way. Oh, you ain't no real man because you don't agree with my views. You don't agree with my narratives. Or some of the panelists fell prey and fell weak to allowing the opposite sex to infiltrate. And in some cases, that has a lot to do with how you treat your team. You know what I mean? It's like being a good employer. You're a good employer. You do right by your employees. 9 times out of 10, your company is going to do successful. A lot of these businesses and a lot of these companies, they can't keep good employees because it's the type of leadership. When it comes to these leadership, a lot of these supervisors, managers, executive directors, they abuse their leadership. They abuse their authority. They doing all type of shady stuff. Showing favoritism to certain employees, or you want to give certain employees more work, and then you let this other one over here. You don't hardly help make them do much of anything. It becomes discouraging when you have a weak leader, or you have a nasty leader, a leader that's a tyrant that likes to over dictate people. When people feel like they're being abused emotionally and physically, especially most so mentally and emotionally, when you're talking to people all kind of way, you disrespecting people all kind of way, eventually they're going to leave you. I think what has happened with a lot of these black YouTube sectors, there has become a lot of disrespect. It's been so much disrespect. You got grown men talking to other grown men like they're children. Same case with a lot of these black female sectors, these black female panels. There's so much disrespect. You know, you have people that allow their significant other to disrespect other women. and she's not woman enough to put an old man in place. No, you don't need to talk to other women like that, or vice versa, or other females talking to her man all kind of way. It's just been a lot of chaotic mess in these black YouTube streets, all because of egos, and people do not know how to stay in their place. People, because of people not knowing when they're doing too much, not knowing when you're saying too much, not knowing when you're just getting way out of pocket. As a grown man and a grown woman, nobody should have to put you in your place and let you know when you are doing too much. You should have enough sense, and you should have the spirit of what's called discretion to know when you're doing way too much, when you're getting way too out of hand, when you're getting becoming way too rude, you're becoming way too disrespectful, you saying what you want to say out your mouth, you disrespecting people on your platform all kind of way. Eventually people are going to walk off from your movement. People are going to walk away, and they're going to tell other people how you really get down. Yeah, I stopped rocking with him because when I was part of his movement, he was doing A, B, C, D, E. And yeah, I've been stopped going to her channel. I've been stopped collaborating with her because she fake, she phony, she say one thing and she do something else. And it's a lot of hypocrisy. Definitely a lot of that in the black YouTube sector. You have people that act like they so loyal and so down for each other, but the moment there's an issue or there's a disagreement, they doing all kind of stuff. They going back running their mouth talking about people. You doing uploads, going in on somebody for like a hour or two instead of being a grown ass man or a grown ass woman about it. You call that person behind closed doors. Hey, we need to talk about this. We need to discuss this. Hear each other out like adults. I felt like disrespected when you blase blah. I felt like you was abusing your authority because I was humble to you. I felt like you was taking my meekness for weakness, and I'm a kind person. I'm not a weak person, but I felt like you was taking my kindness for weakness. This is called being an adult. It's not that um hard to figure out. These matters could be easily resolved if people would not let their egos get in the way and not always wanting to be right. Sometimes it's not always about being right, it's about being humble. Learn to humble yourself so people can get through to you. They may actually have something to say that might help you. But we're in a very egotistical world where people want to be right. And even if they know they're wrong, they're going to keep pushing a point across that they know what they're talking about because they're so threatened by somebody else being right for once, somebody else having more knowledge than them for once, or somebody calling them out on their bullshit because they are so used to being the ones to call somebody out. But now when it's their turn to get called out, oh, no, no, you just being a hater. No, no, no. You hating on me. You trying to bring mess to my movement. Just because somebody doesn't agree with your narratives and your viewpoints. And that's one of the biggest issues we have in the black YouTube sector is that people cannot stand when somebody does not agree with their narratives. This is a black woman comes on your panel and she's not yeah, 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 yeah and co-signing. That doesn't mean she's a feminist. Because why? Because she has her own mind. Same thing. A man comes to my panel and I talk about something, or he comes in my chat room and say, "Well, Mocha, I disagree with that. I don't feel that way." Oh, so I'm gonna call him a dog. I'm gonna say, he's a woman hater because he does not agree with my views. That lets you know what type of person I am. That I have an egotistical problem. Why should I always have to feel like I'm the only one that's right at all times? And the moment somebody has a difference in opinion or they say something that actually makes sense because it's coming from the opposite sex, I don't think I have to heed to it. Oh, he a man, he don't know what he's talking about. Or he a black man, he can't relate to what black women come through. Just anything to just try to use as an excuse to disregard his opinion. Because again, it boils down to me being right. But I really feel like this is one of the biggest issues why a lot of um black content creators in the black YouTube sector space, uh this is part of the reason they keep losing out. And the thing is, a lot of them don't think that they're losing out because they're looking at the numbers and they're still looking at the people that are praising them. So they really don't feel like they losing. Then they're looking at all the donations. They don't feel like they losing. When in actuality, do you not realize you can have a lot of people who could be supporting you, even though what you're doing is wrong? Some people support you just to set you up for failure. So you have to be careful with that. A lot of times you can have 1,000 people that'll follow you and you can be dead wrong, but because only one person following you, you don't feel like you're right. You going by quantity versus going by quality. And that's the biggest issues in the Black YouTube sector. A lot of people feel like because they have a lot of subscribers and they get a lot of donations, they technically feel like they're doing right. Like they're doing what they're supposed to do. You can have 1,000 people that will support you in all your wrong doing just because they want to see you fail. And you have people they will encourage you. They will encourage you to keep going a wrong direction because they don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you progress. But in due time, those of us who really think that we're invincible, who really think that our movement is so solid that it can't be touched, it's going to come a day when we're going to get a rude awakening. When you least expect it, everything you done built, all the progress you done made, all the fans and subscribers that you have accumulated based on the type of information you've been putting out there. Right now, you may feel like you're winning. You may feel like you're progressing. You're feeling like you're invincible. You're unstoppable. But every dog got his day. And you have to be very careful with how you treat people along the way who have been there for you. You have to be careful with how you disrespect people, how you turn people away who want to be a part of something that you're doing in a positive manner, but because they're not agreeing with your viewpoints, you turning them away. Are you telling them to get the hell on? You're disrespecting them. You got to be very careful because the same people you pass going up are the same people you're going to have to pass going down. It's a lot of popular YouTube content creators that really thought they had it going on because their channel was steady thriving, their subscribers was steady increasing, their donations was going great. So they felt invincible, like they could not be touched. And out the blue, when we least expected, their channel got terminated. Something happened. So you have to be careful with how you treat people once you get in a certain position. Just as much as God giveth, God can take it. So you have to be very careful with how you mistreat people, how you talk to people, how you do people in, because you're going to have to answer to what's called karma. And karma is a debt that is not going to collections, okay? Karma is a debt. You're going to pay that debt whether you want to pay it or not. And that's just the bottom line. But I'm going to get ready to wrap this content up. I just felt it was imperative that this needed to be discussed because there's just so many YouTube sectors that are dividing based off of egos. Basically, because I'm big now. My channel is big. I don't have to humble myself to anybody. For what? No, everybody need to humble themselves to me because I'm this big YouTube content creator. I'm the one with all the views. I'm the one that got all the graphics. I'm the one that got all of these this big notoriety. So I don't feel like I got to humble myself for nobody. And the truth is, something's going to happen where you're going to have to humble yourself, and then you're going to want to. And this is the other part about it. These same people that become Nino Brown and become big headed and arrogant. These are the same people when something happens and they get shut down. Now they want to blame other people. Yeah, see, I've been had these haters who wanted my channel gone. I've been had people who was waiting for something to go wrong. Now you want to humble yourself and blame everybody, but not understanding that it was only a matter of time the court was going to get plugged on you because you've been nasty, you've been arrogant, you've been mistreating people. Your days were numbered. But no, you didn't want to believe that. These would be the main ones when their channels get terminated. They create a whole nother channel and now they want to explain what they believe happened. Oh, I got haters. I got flagged. I had somebody drop a dime on me. I asked people coming for me and this and that, and now they got to go build their channel somewhere else. A place that a lot of these subscribers not gonna go to. Because let me tell you something, all of these subscribers are not that loyal. They'll rock with you on YouTube, but once you lose that YouTube channel, they're not going to be paying for to go see you somewhere else. And some of them are just too lazy to go somewhere else. They'd rather go to YouTube because it's just easier. So it'd be harder to build your fan base back up once you have to collaborate. But I'm telling you, over time, a lot of popular people are going to get knocked off because of their egos, and they think they're safe. They're in a safety zone because YouTube has just been pulling their cards slowly. They might have took away a channel here and there, or they might have flagged them or gave them a strike here and there. But one day they're going to wake up and find their channel completely gone. And these are going to be the main ones. They're going to be devastated because they live off of YouTube. You got people who depend on YouTube like it's their life. They act like they don't have a wife, a husband, kids. They have nothing else to live for but YouTube. Cause me, I can't be on YouTube 24/7. A lot of these people, YouTube is their life. For them to act like they so unbothered, like they really don't need YouTube, they're the main ones that surviving on it. You got people that they fighting YouTube is like their lifeline. And the moment, God forbid, YouTube pulls that plug, they're going to roll over and die. But in due time, I'm telling you, people are going to get knocked off because they got a lot of karma. Sometimes the devil will set you up to get you to the top just so he can bring you back to the bottom and let everybody be a witness to your downfall. So be very careful when doors open for you, when blessings open for you, when you start getting big, that's when you need to worry the most. One thing about small YouTubers like me, I'm not a target. I'm not that big. I don't have a lot of people checking for me like that. So I don't have a big bullseye on my back. But for all you big time YouTubers that are over 10,000 in subscribers and all of that, you better be very mindful for how you treat people out here in these YouTube streets, okay? Because anything can be taken in a matter of seconds. Don't think you're so invincible. Don't think you're so powerful until you own YouTube yourself. You still a small content creator. And no matter how many subscribers you got, unless you can buy YouTube, unless you can own YouTube, YouTube could pull a plug on you any day. And how are you going to manage? Because you're so used to recognition. You're so used to being heard and having people amen you and having people cheer you on. I would hate the day for YouTube to completely just shut down because a lot of these people lose their minds because YouTube has become their lifeline. But anyway, y'all, what is y'all opinion on these Nino Browns in the black YouTube sector who really feel like I'm popular, I'm big, I don't have to respect anybody's opinion. I can talk about people, I can talk to people anywhere I want, and people are just going to deal with it. We don't have to mention names or anything like that. Let's keep it classy. But do y'all think we have a lot of that's going on in the YouTube sector? Do we have a lot of Nino Browns? And when I say Nino Browns, I'm not just talking about men, women as well. Got some clout, got a little bit of recognition, and now they, allowing it to get to their heads to where they feel like they can disrespect folks and mistreat folks. What is your opinion on these Nino Browns in the black YouTube sector? So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to shut it down, but I am gonna do a collaboration tomorrow. I think, let me see the topic I'm going to be doing. I know where did I put it at? Because I want to let y'all know what I'm going to be discussing on the next upload coming up. I'm going to be discussing this video that went viral when a man dumped a woman after discovering a child wasn't his. I'm going to be uploading that, so be on the lookout for that. So make sure you hit that notification bell, y'all, because you're not going to get my new content when it comes out. You're going to miss out. You're going to be the last to know. If you haven't hit the notification bell and you haven't been getting anything, just click just click the notification bell again, unclick it and click it back. So that way, that may be its way to refreshing itself for you to get my new uploads. But anyway, y'all, don't forget I have cable, 10,000 channels or more, free pay-per-view events. I know y'all gonna want to see that Mike Tyson fight and all of this stuff coming up. So if you want to get cheap cable at a good cable at a cheap price, superior live stream quality, not all that um, you know, getting frozen and having all these glitches and stuff like that. I mean, good quality cable. You are more than welcome to email me at cafedayparis79 at yahoo.com so I can connect your cable today, but you have to have an Amazon stick and you have to have high-speed internet. So on that note, y'all, it is your girl, your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha, with tonight's live chat dessert. I will be hollering at y'all soon. Take care. Bye.